the mandate of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. In its consideration of the Privatization Bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023, the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning is at liberty to invoke the provisions of 127(3) and invite the date of the Privatization Committee to share any technical input. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Order, honorable members, take your seats. Take your seats, honorable member, take your seats. Order, honorable Koech. Honorable members, I have a message from the Senate. Honorable Koech and the colleagues, take the nearest seats. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, as a message from the Senate, the passage of 3 Senate bills. Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order 41(1) of the National Assembly orders, I wish to report to the House that on 19th June 2023, I received 3 messages from the Senate regarding passage of the following Senate bills. 1, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023. 2, the County Vocational Education and Training Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2022. Order, honorable members. Order. And 3, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023. Honorable members, the first message relates to the passage of the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023, published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 7 of 31st January 2023. The bill seeks to authorize the issuance of a sum of money out of the Equalization Fund and its application towards the service of the year ending 30th June 2023 and to appropriate the said sums for certain public basic services in marginalized zones. In the message, the Senate on Tuesday, 6th June 2023 considered and passed the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023 without amendments. Honorable members, the second message relates to the passage of the County Vocational Education and Training Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2022, published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 162 of 26 October 2023. The bill seeks to provide a framework for the establishment of systems for the administration of training in vocational education and training within the county. The message conveys that on Tuesday, 6th June 2023, the Senate considered and passed the County Vocational Education and Training Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2022 without amendments. The third message, honorable members, relates to the passage of the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023, published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 52 of 27th April 2023. The Count Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023, seeks to provide for the equitable allocation of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the financial year 2023-24, as well as define the corresponding responsibilities of the national and county governments in connection to the said allocation. The message conveys that on Thursday, 15 June 2023, the Senate considered and passed the Count Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023 with amendments. Honorable members, having considered and passed the three bills, the Senate now seeks the concurrence of the National Assembly on each of the bills pursuant to Article 110 and 111 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 46(1) and 116 of the Senate Standing Orders. The Standing Orders require the Speaker to cause a bill received from the Senate to be read a first time upon conveyance of its message. In this regard, you will notice that the two bills have been listed for first reading in the order paper for this particular sitting. After being read a first time, the bills will stand committed to respective committees as follows. The Count Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023, and the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023, will stand committed to the Budget and Appropriations Committee for consideration, and the County Vocational Education and Training Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2022, stands referred to the Departmental Committee on Education. You will agree with me that the two bills, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023, and the Count Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 16 of 2023, relate to the budget process. In this regard, they ought to be prioritized for consideration. Honorable members, you may therefore have noticed that the two bills have been listed for first reading in the order paper for this afternoon sitting. Owing to the urgency of the two bills, I urge the committee to prioritize the bill in its agenda and report to the House as soon as is practicable. The reports shall guide the House with respect to the next stages and prioritization of the two bills. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you. Members, take your seats. Yes, Jared, what is out of order?
Really, nothing out of order. Everything is in order, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, the Constitution did come up with the Equalization Fund. And if we read that Constitution properly, it was also time-bound. It has been 10 years since the advent of county governments, Honorable Speaker. And we also have 10 more years before the end of Equalization Fund, Mr. Speaker. What did happen, Honorable Speaker, are that there were two warring factions on who to implement issues of Equalization Fund, Honorable Speaker. The county governments thought that that was money which was meant to be sent to those respective counties that qualified for Equalization Fund. Yet again, through line ministries, the executive thought that that was money that was to be controlled by the executive through respective line ministries, Honorable Speaker. This matter did go to court, and I'm not sure whether determination has already been made by the courts of law as to who should implement these funds, Honorable Speaker. Because again, the idea behind the Equalization Fund was to bring everybody at par in terms of development, Honorable Speaker. But if we have had an inordinate delay for 10 years and the Equalization Fund was to last 20 years, so we only have 10 years to go if that constitutional dictate is anything to go by, Mr. Speaker. So I do not know whether the courts have already pronounced themselves on this subject, and if so, who will then be implementing all the projects under Equalization Fund, Honorable Speaker, and I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Order, honorable members. Order. Order. I can fully appreciate the levels of excitement in the House. Honorable Jared Okello has raised a very important point. Equalization Fund, for those of us who participated in the drafting and promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, was never meant to be a devolved fund. It was never meant to be a devolved fund. It was a fund that also had a sunset of 20 years. 10 years have gone without the money being put to any use because of the ping pong between this House and the Senate. Each House wanting to be the anchor for the fund. We also had some dysfunctional activities in the national government on this fund. It was originally meant to benefit counties that were presumed and believed to be marginalized, particularly in the northern Kenya. Eventually, it was decided by this House and the Senate and the CRA that the fund will be applied to pockets of marginalization in all counties of the country as they were identified. In fact, the area of focus became the sublocation. So they have spread the money so thin across the country, from Nairobi to Mandera, from Nairobi to Turkana, from Nairobi to Homa Bay to Migori, to everywhere. So now that the fund is available and you have only 10 years to go, I want to encourage this House, because this is a national government fund, to ensure that once this bill is passed and ascended through, you have this money go to the ground to benefit the marginalized people. You also know that under the Constitution, and the senior Amolo can bear me in this, we defined which areas of intervention this fund was to go to. It was not to go to anything and everything. But I get the impression that it has now been twiddled down to go to anything and everything, which again, as a House, you have a duty to ensure that marginalization means marginalization, and the marginalized means the marginalized, and not everybody else. Thank you, Kello. On the same issue, yes, Junet?
Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill, as you said, and it's a very important bill that many Kenyans have been waiting for. But Mr. Speaker, now that we are seized of the bill, I want to urge the House to look at this bill critically. Mr. Speaker, as you've just alluded to, the way they have crafted the manner in which the money is supposed to be shared, Mr. Speaker, is really shocking. I don't know whether it has come to your attention, whether you have seen. Even sublocations that will not receive rain for 2 months qualify to be marginalized, Mr. Speaker. Some of them are inside Nairobi here. I don't know how a sublocation in Nairobi can be marginalized, Mr. Speaker. It is really shocking. Those people who did that division, how to divide the money, Mr. Speaker, how can you be marginalized in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, of all places? You can be hungry in Nairobi and you need food, stipend and such things. But in the sense of marginalization, you can't be marginalized in Nairobi. So, Mr. Speaker, there was a sinister motive. Actually, what caused the delay for the last 10 years, there were people who have refused to let go that money, Mr. Speaker. And they know themselves. I don't need to mention names on the floor of the House. They refused to let go. Mr. Speaker, when this country got the new constitution and went to the devolved system, Mr. Speaker, people realized that now that there is equitable revenue share, it was in the vision of the makers of the Constitution that those people who will not get enough revenue in the equitable sharing, this equalization fund can be used to uplift their standards, Mr. Speaker. It was an intervention fund. It was not an entitled fund. Now people are turning it to a fund that is entitled to everyone. Mr. Speaker, I just want to put on record that the way it was being done was wrong, and the House must look at it this time fresh, Mr. Speaker. And then the people who deserve it must get it, Mr. Speaker. I'm told even Githunguri has been listed as a marginalized place. There's nothing like that.
Order, honorable members. We rarely open a message from the other house for debate, and we'll leave it there. The bill is listed for first reading.